Okay, everything seems to be firing there. We de-mirrored the camera, and I've given you about 18 seconds to get ready for those that rush to get the live that's unannounced. Anyway, it's just simply too hard for us to guarantee a certain time that we will be here at the moment. So it's luck of the draw, and hopefully you get to watch the replay, things like that. So anyway, we'll lots of interesting things happening. Most of it's got to do with stuff in the water, which I warned the entrants about previously. And anyway, there's certainly a lot of stuff in the water. But before we get there, while everyone's starting to assemble, just for those that are turning on for the first time, I want to actually walk you through. There's no tracker page yet. We haven't got there. This is actually the home page, and I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial or a quick rundown on the features and how you get there. So if you open up the page, that's the first thing you see, how to follow the race. If you go down without touching that, it just gives you a bit of history about John Guswell and so on, and it shows you how to follow the journey. There's bits about profiles on the entrants and so on, but you can also get to the latest news from the front page, and you'll see here we've just put out another update for the fleet that got underway from Panama. Got some interesting stuff there. Another little video clip, what is the mini globe race, and then you just keep scrolling down and you go into the social media coverage, latest videos on YouTube, stuff on Facebook for the mini globe race, that's for our site, and all about the race then, Class Globe 580 website and bits and pieces. So there's a lot on the page. But the first lot is all of these boxes about how you can follow the race, and it's also a quick way to get to the what I call the library stacking of the various things. So if you want to go to previous tracker updates, like the one I did yesterday or any of the others, you hit that box, and guess what? They're all there. So if you missed a day, you can go through. That was the one from yesterday, which was mirrored the wrong way the day before. That's the one where I started to get these questions popping up. So you can go down, the whole lot's there. Every time we do a live update, it's put on back in the library, so you can come back there anytime and have a look. The same with the latest news. I mean, you can go up to the top here and click to the news, or you can get it through the box there. You want to go to the live tracking site, which we'll do in a minute, to get there. That's it. If you want to look at the entrant boat tours, just to remind you about some of the boats that are being sailed, like they were the boat tours we did back in Lanzarote, and they're really interesting. If you haven't gone through any of those yet, you've got basically a boat tour of every boat, except for a couple of them which will hang over from Fiji. We'll get those boat tours there. So the boat tours are a lot of fun if you haven't seen it. Going down again, then you've got, if you want to get to you don't have to be a member of Facebook, because I know a lot of people aren't, but you can get to it on the website. So if you're watching this off YouTube because you can't, you're not a member of Facebook, you can still get to all their social feeds direct from this website. From the feed here, there's the latest from Coconut. He's now at sea. You can see the latest there from Adam. He had another log there. They've all come up with logs. That was his little story about his little log. Dan hit a log and it locked onto the keel and so on. And we've got other reports of big logs, trees, and so on. So you can get all of the entrant social media feeds here. This is really important, because even if you're on Facebook, you can go to One Stop Shop here and start scrolling through each of the individual entrants, which is really cool. So you don't have to be a member of Facebook. If you're on YouTube, you can actually get to all their social media feeds direct from this box. Satellite phone calls, these haven't been proving as popular as they are in the GGR and things like that, but they're all there. Every time an entrant calls in, it's on the SoundCloud. You can go back and listen to them. There's Christian and Adam and bits and pieces, and they're also indexed somewhere under the entrants themselves, so they'll all come together as individual entrants. A lot of work. Graham takes the calls. Jane puts them on SoundCloud here, and then we share them to Facebook occasionally as well. So Facebook being our number one form of regular instant updates and stuff. So that's the satellite calls. Graham's weekly epic logs are there. We haven't had anything from Brian for a while, and Frank's going to come up starting from now. We're coming into a regular thing, so you'll see Frank pop up with a summary of these online bits. So that's how that works. You can log into them all. Race, that's the timeline, the race timeline. There's not a lot happening there yet, but the timeline basically goes down, and every time there's something happening, you'll see it sort of come up in this very linear format. Okay, so this was different things happening. It just rolls through. If it's something dramatic, you'll see it come up in colour. February 23rd off the coast of Antigua. So this just rolls through. So you can pick up little snippets. You can very quickly start to go through it. That was at the Sailing Academy in February. And so it goes. So that's a quick rundown. It's quite cool. A lot of people don't know this exists. But if you ever forget something and you want to go back and find out when did it happen, well, this goes right back to Lagos, and there we were in Portugal. So it starts from there and comes right up to here and now. And the latest on there was the 7th of March, because there wasn't a lot happening in shelter, over the course of the Panama stopover. And Rob will update that anyway coming through. So that's the timeline. You come down from there, you've got entrant tweets. Well, that really hasn't happened yet in a different way. Race results, you can always check out the race results. Onboard footage, these are the ones that are put together from all of the race so far across the transatlantic. And then now we've got the onboard footage for the first leg, and some of that will be put together shortly. So you can follow all the little onboard stories. So it's all indexed there. If you did go direct to YouTube, you can see all the same things on YouTube, but they have like a homepage, and they have video select, and then the live section, and so on. So there is a huge amount of story on the information on the directly to the YouTube channel. So I'm just going to click on this and show you to bring it through. That should pop up in a minute. Armour Class Globe 580 YouTube channel, and this is just loaded. Right, here's the featured videos that have been produced along the way. This is on the home page. You treat this like a mini website. So that's the featured videos. Then you go to the tracker update by me. But that's this was the Transat. Okay, so that's not necessarily current right at the moment. That was all a month ago, and I'll show you how to get the others. Boat tours are there again, Globe 580 Transat. But if you come back here to videos, you hit videos like a website. It's all there, all the video interviews that we've done with each of the entrants. There was only one entrant. John was the only one that we didn't actually get to nailing in Panama to do an interview. And these are really quite fascinating. So every entrant there, except for John, has an interview. We've been sharing them regularly. There's still a few more to share. You can go to shorts. You can go to live. So if you hit the live button, then this is where you're actually seeing the live. So this one is real-time live. You're seeing it. That's what's being watched right now when I just went through the tutorial, or the timeline. That was yesterday's. That was the day before. So every time we do a live, they're all in sequence here. Boom, boom, boom. So you just go to live. So a huge amount of material. If you've got a rainy Sunday afternoon, you've got nothing to do, and you want to check it all out, that's what happens. So for now, I'll come back here to the. I think that's you were seeing that. You went off track, but you're watching this page. So now we're back at the homepage on how to follow the race. Live Q&As. I've only done one of those because I'm answering so many questions at the back end of the tracker. So that's something to remember as well. So now we'll just go live tracker, and you've seen this before. Comes up leg 1, leg 2. We're going leg 2. So hit it there, and I just saw something too. We're coming into the weekend, so pressure's off, everybody. So here we are. There's some interesting things going on at the moment. I'm not sure it's very good. Certainly not very good for Kerry, that's for sure. We haven't seen Popeye take off yet. Anyway, so that's just zoomed in on the fleet here. Let's go for the wind. The wind isn't very exciting at all. But anyway, here we go. So, okay, fortunately, Kerry's turned the corner. And I'll explain all that in a minute. And how's this? Renaud is on top of Holiday Dan. Yep, he's on top of him. He's disappeared. He's underneath. So Renaud is now in the lead. But watch this. This is how crazy the leader is at the moment. Now I've got to zoom this in, and we'll see how far apart they are. They're so close together, I reckon they got fenders out. I've had to go really big here to get this, but this is ridiculously close. Okay, and I'll just go from there to there. Okay, 0.10 of a nautical mile. Someone want to work that out for me? How many meters is that? 1,700 yards, I think it is. So that's only 17 yards. I think if I got this right. So is 1,700? No, how many yards? There's 5,250 feet in a mile. It's 1,700 yards. So 17 yards. It's like 17 meters. They're like 20 meters apart, right? They're really close. It's crazy. So they're having a ball, and it's neck and neck. And I don't know whether Renaud's just holding down and waiting for nighttime, and then he'll go dark and wait until Dan goes to sleep, and then he'll take off. What I'd do is I'd just stop and let Dan go forward, and then go 100, 250 meters that way, and then carry on and try and separate, because they're covering each other. Anyway, that's kind of fun. But they are literally, would it be 20? No, hang on a sec. 17 meters. So there's 20 meters. Yeah, it's ridiculous. 60 feet apart. It's nuts. But anyway, okay, I'm gobsmacked. But anyway, technically, Renaud is in the lead there. So let's go back to the real world now that we've done that. That's a lot of fun. We're bound to. I'm sure Dan with his Starlink is one of them is going to send a photo and start bragging about it. Because it is really quite a lot of fun there. Anyway, that's it there. I'm going to go back and just confirm that the boys haven't left yet. No, they're there. And it's Friday. I would never leave on Friday. So I would think they'll leave tomorrow. They should have been organised by now. They're a long way back. And I would hope that they're going to take off tomorrow. Okay. So just pick this up a bit more. I'm going to put the grids on here, makes me feel more comfortable, so you can see what's going on. So they're moving away from the coast here. Gary is trundling along quite nicely, doing 3.5 knots and 96 miles in the day. So that's still got a little bit of current along the way. But it's interesting if you look at this here. I'll just hang on, wrong one. Boom. Okay, you'll see the track here. This was really cruel. Goes, Kerry's going the wrong way. And so what the hell? But that was the current. They had no wind this morning. Even though it's been showing that it's got wind, you could see that there was no wind. And here's the current, right? So Kerry and also that was Eric, both of them, and also Ayrton. And who else was down there? They're the main ones. They were just sitting here with no wind, and the current basically picked them up and took them out this way at about 2.5 knots. Right, and they had no reason to be going that direction. That's away from the course. So they basically had no wind and they weren't sailing. The current was just taking them that way. Unfortunately, the breeze has kicked in now and they're starting to sail back on track. So that was sad, because while that was happening, the leaders were sailing along at like 4 or 5 knots, still in light winds, but they were sailing away from them. So I never did check, but let's just check now and see the difference. We used Kerry as a back marker before. We'll just see how far he is behind the leaders here now. Yeah, he's lost quite a lot of ground, because before I think it was 65 miles. Now Kerry is now 107 miles behind Renaud and Holiday Dan. So he's lost 40 miles. That's what happens. Sometimes you just can't afford to leave 12 hours late, because you just go into a different system. And there's usually this other saying, the rich get richer. So the guys up the front, it's easier for them to go into good weather to pull away than it is for the tail enders to catch up. So Kerry's not looking good with Renaud. Still a hell of a long way to go. It's, it doesn't mean anything. Anything can still happen. They got a lot of doldrums to go through yet, and a lot of squalls and things like that. So don't stress. But I'm just saying how I think Kerry would be bleeding a bit there right now. Anyway, so we'll just leave the currents there and just see how it goes. So confirming. 95 miles, 4.9 knots at the moment for Kerry. All right. Ayrton was pretty much in the same boat, 5 knots and doing 88 miles. Ayrton did a live video off the boat. We got some pictures from Kerry, but did a live. And I was a bit surprised, honestly. I'm going to give you my honest opinions. The first one he did, he was just showing around the boat, and the boat was a mess down below. Jeepers. That's my boat. Jeepers. But, everyone's it was looking a lot more organised, so he's got organised. He probably went through the challenge of popping his hatch. He broke his hatch, which was stunning to say the least, and a safety issue. We were able to help our Z find a replacement hatch, and she's now got it. It's back to original, and she's now trying to work out how to get it to Marquises as quick as possible. There's not a lot of services there, but got plenty of time. It'll be there when he arrives. Eric is well and truly back on track. He got swept up with that current as well. 5.6 knots and 80 miles along the way. Josh, 4.8 knots, 72 miles. So he's come out of the current. He's going a bit slower, but there was some light winds back here. There's no question. They were being affected by that. Jasmine still pushing ahead of Josh. So she'll be quietly smiling about that. 82 miles to go. 82 miles in 24 hours. So that's a little bit less than Josh. No, a bit more. She took 10 miles out of Josh. And this group was where the breeze kept and held, because they were watching it during the day, and they were, maintaining a better speed with the wind. For those that might have missed it, the tracker did go down for a short period this morning. I came in. We had jet lag last night. Didn't wake up till 10 o'clock because we were still awake at 4 o'clock this morning. Anyway, when we got up, the tracker was down. It was down on the app, and it was down on the website and so on. They must have been doing some work. I'm not sure how long it was down for, but it popped up again pretty quickly, so we weren't stressed on that. Okay, Christian doing 5.7 knots and 102-mile day, moving ahead quite nicely, 102. So 103-mile day for Pila, falling back a little bit on the two guys at the front because they're pushing each other big time. Still in touch. I mean, there's not a lot in it at the moment. Jacob, I should be making this a bit bigger so you can see a bit better what's going on. Jacob, 55.4 knots and 85-mile day, right alongside Adam Moore, 86-mile day. Adam's sailing past a log. He sent a photo in of the log that he saw. You probably read about Dan hooking up with his log, and Ayrton has reported seeing a big log as well. And we gave that report. In fact, I've got a picture I'll show you of the bigger tree, which came from, it's Mike, on the Russell 36 out there ahead of the fleet. So some of these boats will have gone past it by now, but it's still a big one floating back there. And you're not expecting to give the boats, when we send the alert, so watch out for this 40 foot by 18 inches or 60 centimeters by 12 meter tree, still with the roots on it. You're not expecting them to get close to it, but it just keeps them aware of the fact that there's a lot of rubbish out there. And I actually told them I warned everyone at the briefing that we had. I said, just watch out, because I've read so many accounts of boats losing rudders. And one multi-hull went fast over a big log and took out both rudders. It was about 5-6 years ago, all around Panama. So anyway, so Adams 86 miles, Dan Turk 92 miles. That's not bad. And Mark Sinclair still chugging along, 4.2 knots. Dan's doing 5.8. So once again, the lighter, I had a chat with Graham about this morning. The lighter, smaller boats are a lot faster in light winds than full displacement boats. They tend to wallow and curve along. So I'm not expecting to see Mark roar past the fleet at the moment. So we can't unbury the boys here, but Renaud doing 6 knots, 105-mile day. I'm going to have to pick that up just to see exactly. I didn't point out what Dan was doing here. But Dan now 103 miles and Renaud 105 miles. So Renaud was just behind him. Now they're on top of each other. But how close is that? That's a lot of fun. Can't wait to see the story and the pictures on that. Okay, so we zoom back out a bit and let's look at the weather. First of all, just talk about the current a bit. You can see there's another current stream coming up, and they're all heading towards it. It's going to kick them over this way a bit, but then the current later on will balance that out. And here we go. They're pushing pretty good times, because here's the Galapagos. There's Humboldt current and a few other things going to happen later on, but the equatorial current, coming across here. Let's see. I'm talking about it, but not showing you. So I'll show you again. We looked at this yesterday. So this is where the challenges are going to start down here, or they've already started. But so the fleet's moving very well so far. No one's going to complain about what they're doing, but this is the objective, down to the Galapagos and across. That should be a Popeye destination. Popeye should stop there. It'd be amazing. Never been there, but got an invite once, but never got there. Anyway, so the wind, currents won't change much in the next couple of days. But let's look at the wind. They're still riding this little puff down here. And you can see you don't want to be, I'm going to hold it at this scale for the moment, just while we move it forward. And then I'll come up and have a bit of a closer look at the picture. So overall, the fleet, Kerry and Tracker up that top end, they've got to get down a bit. Renaud and Dan are right in the best spot for the breeze. They're right in the middle of this little pile going down, and it's still going to squeak a bit, it's still going to hold them through. This is to the 29th, so this is by tomorrow afternoon, about 24 hours from now. they're still going to be riding that. They're really lucky. And if we go through to the next day, still just enough of a breeze. There's a system in here, and I've spoken about this. This is starting to get into the realms of the Southern Ocean here. Obviously, there's weather reporting stations around the land here, and they'll have weather reporting stations on the Galapagos. But the only place they're getting weather here is from ships coming in. Often the ships are official weather reporting stations. They do barometric pressure and temperature and wind direction as well. It's a special code, and it's all sent by messaging system every 4 hours to the World Meteorology Organization, and that's where they put the computer modeling together. But it's not necessarily so accurate, because this morning it was clear that the leaders were sitting in a big hole like this, but they were still sailing at 4 knots, whereas down the back, Carey and Tracker were getting swept by the current. You could see the course, but they obviously weren't going to the wind, even though it was showing wind. It was showing a sailing breeze, and they obviously didn't have it. So this is not necessarily accurate here. It gets less accurate when there's less weather reporting stations, and especially when it's quiet or light, fluffy winds. It's just hard for the computer model even to pick exactly what's happening. So it's not so reliable anyway. But it's showing a bit of breeze down there, and they might get lucky and keep going. But this is going to be a very interesting time in the next few days. There's the 31st. That's 3 days. We said this yesterday, but I won't go into the whole thing with the trade winds here. This is the edge, but by the time they get down here, it's likely to head south. So I mentioned that in the press release today. So that's the longer term on the weather. I'll just make this bigger and see if it makes any difference to extend this for a couple of days at that view. You can see Carey's, and the ones in the top at the back are going to get a little bit less maybe. It's not too bad. They're just going to stay in the groove. The leaders look like they're running out a bit. Carey will be down here, but the leaders will be over this side. So long way to go. That's about all I can tell you there for now. Sea state, you can see from Adam's video when he had the log there, it's beautiful sailing. It'd be less than a metre out there at the moment. And this is another one of those classic passages where they're not expected to get big seas for some time. So long last the dream. I think that's nothing. We'll have a look at the leaderboard just for the hell of it. Here we go. Renaud 6,147, 6,148. That's interesting. That's distance to go to the finish. It's showing Renaud has got 1 mile less, so they're on top of each other. And so it goes down the line. Everyone's pretty close. It doesn't really do much. The ETA at the current rate is May 24th, June. Yeah, that's not fast. So it's now March, another 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. So, yep, kind of interesting, but it's still a bit loose to come up with any meaningful information from that. So I think we're just about done. I'll come back here. I'm going to show you a picture first before I do. Put this in. Come on, where's the picture? No, it didn't show. Hang on, I'm going to go back here. Oh, the bloody questions, jeepers. Right, now I'm going to go solo here, and there you go. So this is the picture from Mike on the Rust 36. This is a tree that was apparently around about 40 feet long, 12 meters or so, and about 18 inches. I thought it would be 18 inches and 40 centimeters, 60 centimeters is 2 feet, so it's a little bit bigger than that. But, you hit this the wrong way. If you hit that at night going fast and you went over it in the multi-hull, you would absolutely bend your rudders for sure, going sideways. If you hit it head on in a 580, 580s are really strong, touch wood, and you've got a single keel, and the keel attachment is very strong. So, you shouldn't be going that fast, and it's only about 1.3 tons. So it'd be a nasty bump, but if you went straight into it at 90 degrees, it might not be very comfortable. But if you had a glancing blow, I think you'd scratch some paint and hopefully keep going, but still prefer to stay away from it. So Adams put a video up showing a log. Holiday Dan's hit one. Ayrton's sailed around one. They've all got little bits of stuff hanging out there, so all kind of interesting. Okay, I think that's enough of that. And I got new glasses. I broke my glasses. I don't like these ones. They look like a professor glasses, but they were my spares. Anyway, I'm not that vain that I really care. So see about the thing. G'day, John. Just while I think of it, you've probably seen the press release that went out, which is really a newsletter as well. We got some really interesting feedback already on this one. People sending us messages because we've got about 18,000 people that subscribe to that newsletter. Obviously, they've evolved over all of our events, not just 18,000 for the MGR. But it's a good way to make sure you get the latest, so you can subscribe to that on the website. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, please do. You'll get updates on the OGR and the GGR later on as well. But they're fun. You'll be going into remorse if you're following the MGR. By the time this is all over, you'll think, "Oh, it's finished." Hopefully, hopefully you'll love it so much you'll think, "Oh, what next?" And then it'll go straight into the Golden Globe race. And I just had a meeting with Lasard Delone today. That's why I got the GGR shirt on. And it's a great place here, and we're looking forward to the Golden Globe race. It'll be the third edition out of here, and the fourth edition of the race overall. And then it goes into the Ocean Globe race, which is even more interesting. And you could actually sail on that. You could sail on our boat on Explorer if you want to. So that's all about the demographics are interesting. We got a growing following in America. They're powering out of there, and it's not just Josh sailing in America. And I think it's Cole Bauer from the Global Solo Challenge. She started a bit of a craze. It was a solo race non-stop around the world done by a guy. No, I've got his name now. Italian guy. Quite a cool race. It's a staggered start. So they all start at different times, hopefully they converge at the end. But anyway, Cole Barrett, if you haven't seen her, she's a young lady who did an amazing thing with media, and social media just went nuts on her. It's like Violet in the Vendée Globe, but that's at a different level. And she's a cool dude. I really like Violet. Anyway, I digress, but it's nearly the weekend, so I just tend to waffle on a bit. But Damien, who is Violet's their support crew and this, that, and the other, a bit of a mentor, sailed with her in the Route de Rhum to teach her more about Democas before she sent off. He's actually a Golden Globe race sailor, and he's entered again. He had to retire in the last edition of the Golden Globe, and he's now re-entered, coming back in the same boat. Another bloody rustler, but a good one. So lots of things happen with the GGR. So anyway, I digress. But it's nearly the weekend. So the Journey of Shark is back. I never did look at your site. I'm going to. Let's see how that goes. G'day, Warren. For information, the latest news never has anything recent in it. Maybe add links to the latest post. Well, we don't have to. You see, this is the whole thing. In fact, the press release is always a challenge. We would have liked to have got that out straight after the start, but the reality was we were busy, and Jane and I have to do that ourselves. And so then we had to travel, and as much as you would like to do it in the plane and all that stuff, you can't. Then we get back here, and then there's a lot of stuff going on, doing the updates here, and it takes nearly a day. It takes more. Someone's got to write it. I write it. We've got to collate all the pictures. We've got to do all the captions, and then it takes Jane about nearly 5 hours to assemble it on the website. Right? We can't do anything until it's assembled on the website. So she does all that, and then she's got to put it into the mailing system, which goes out to the 18,000 people, and it takes a long time. And we always get really pissed off when it goes on a Friday. It's the worst day to issue a press release, but for some reason, we always end up getting stuck with it on a Friday. And anyway, it's better to get it out than not. So whilst it's never got anything recent, that's because you're following the social media stuff here, right? But the newsletter and press release goes to people, and the start of the race, we often discuss this, isn't breaking news. It's not going to go out on the New York Times. It's not going to go out in all the newspapers or the nightly news. It's not time relevant. What's more important is that it's an interesting story, and so we put in other stuff there that collates it together. And it's actually for people who haven't been following the tracker every day or the Facebook posts and so on, and it draws them back in. So yes, you're right. There's nothing new because it's already happened, and that's why we're writing about it. But hopefully we have a piece there that shows them how to follow the race. They get onto a thing. So your statement is completely correct. And there are links to different things. Links to the YouTube stuff and crew interviews. So it does draw people along. So anyway, part of the course. So not showing the YouTube site. Not showing on the YouTube site. Bugger. It says here that it is. We have a little indicator up here. This should be shared. It should be going to the MGR and the 580 YouTube channel. I don't know why it's not, but anyway, we'll have to look at that. You speak quite fast with your Aussie English. Not everyone understands you like me. This is Jane Jane. Yes, I do speak a little bit fast. I'll try and slow down when I can, but it's hard because that's just the nature, and it's not just me. A lot of other people are similar. When I relax and I'm waffling on, I tend to speak a bit faster, but I'll try and slow down a bit. It gives me more authority. It makes me sound more like a newsreader, and that's what you do. You know, when you want to put emphasis on things, you slow down, and people listen. But sometimes it's not me. You might want to schedule a live tracker tutorial for new MGR followers. Yep, good idea. Or they could. Oh, well, it's too hard. There's another one there. It goes back, but. Yeah, I might do that on the weekend. I'll just do another one. Just there's a lot of fun to be had on the tracker on the website. The update on your phone is actually basic. It just gives you the basic info. But everything we go through, and I don't go through everything all the time, but yeah, you can have a lot of fun yourself playing around with the tracker on the website. It's got a lot of info. Oh, here we go. 176 yards is 1/10 of it. Okay, so it's 200 meters. That makes sense. 176 yards is 1/10 of a mile. Yeah, I was getting mixed up there. So it's 1,760 yards in a mile. I haven't been using yards and miles for a long time. So that means they're less than only 150 meters or so apart. That's really close. Tell you waffle on. 100 meters is my definition of the toilet bucket run when we lived in Antarctica in the hut, because we paced it out for when you're in blizzards, and it's exactly 100 meters. And so now, for the rest of my life since the Antarctic year, I know exactly how long 100 meters is. It's the distance where the dunny bucket got chucked in the ocean. But anyway, we had permits to do that, by the way. Maybe later a windy tutorial. Oh boy, now you're getting complicated. But yeah, could do. Windy is very good. But the thing here is, as I said, with the weather, when it's light winds in this region of the Pacific, there's nothing happening. There's just no dramatic things to watch on windy. It's just this fluffle. And even then, what happens is when you get in the trade winds, again, there's not a lot happening. It's just how strong. You know what direction it's coming. It's, whether it's blowing sort of 10 knots, 15 knots, 20, 25 knots. When you get in the Southern Ocean, if any of you have ever watched the GGR, hold on to your hats, because it gets really exciting and quite challenging and quite demanding, and you learn a lot about the weather, all the storms coming through and all the impacts and the fronts and all sorts of stuff. It's really quite dramatic. Okay, so going over the max hull speed. Maybe later a minute. Yeah, when they're planning, they're moving quick. So, but at the moment, they're just chugging along hull speed, I reckon, going over the maximum hull speed when they're planning. Yep. YouTube.com live. Jane has put something up here that's suggesting it is on YouTube. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe she managed to get it up. Are the 24-hour distances along the run line? They are relevant to the run line, but they are updated every 4 hours, so it's always 24 hours. It's updated every 4 hours. But the boat speed is absolutely determined relevant to its direction towards the finish, not the run line, towards the finish. So if the run line's coming through like that and the finish is way off in the distance, it's not too bad. But if the run line's going like that and you're going this way, then there's a vector made good issue where it works out the speed. So at the moment, it's pretty reasonable to suggest that the speeds you're seeing are very close to real. Hi, Christine. Oh, it's Christine. That photo that we got from Mike on the Russell 36 was sent from him to Christine, and Christine sent it to me, and he gave me the latitude and longitude coordinates of that tree, which is what we sent to the whole fleet, not expecting them to really interact with that tree, but just reminding them that there's stuff around. So thanks, Christine. How are you able to overlay the race with weather and current? Well, that's part of, you can't do that on your phone because the app's not powerful enough, but you can do it on the tracker on the website. So, and there's a lot of other information. I'll just go back for those that might get a bit boring, but if I pull the tracker up again here and I go over here, you'll see This is the scale at the top that does a lot of different things. This is moving the weather forward, okay, forecasting whatever it is. And then if you hit this little triangle here, these are all the things you get. You get temperature, okay, so we're on wind at the moment. There's the wind gradient. If we hit temperature, this is the temperature scale. You see it's redder there and it's orange here. If you want to know the scale, you just go down to the bottom of the chart and you can move this to wherever. So you can see this darker area represents this one over here, which is about 30. There's 40, there's 30. So it's probably in around 34, 35 degrees up here. It's really hot. So our guys and girls are getting this area here, which is looking like about 32, 33, something like that. That's the same color that's in here. So that's how you treat any item you pick here. When we go to pressure, this will be really bland. There's no pressure gradient difference, but if you want to know what the pressure is, you go down the scale down the bottom and you pick a color that's similar, which is about here. So it's about 1,010 hectopascals, okay, along here, but there's no real gradient. So that's the pressure. Same with clouds. If we go boom there, I'll scale this back and you'll be able to see the cloudy areas versus the non-cloudy areas, if that makes sense. So you've got the situation here. This is all the, you can come down here again, go for the scale. Here we go. Right, where you got blue down here, there's only 3%. Or this is clouds. It's also a bit of rain, but that's a bit of rain there. I'm not sure whether they're anyway, this is no clouds in here. You can see clouds here, and where the blue is, that's rain, potential, the scope of the rain. Okay, the currents, again, that's pretty straightforward. You can read the speed of the currents by the color, and the direction is by the graphic. So that's pretty straightforward. I'm doing John's tutorial here on the checker. But anyway, so you can see the purple's about 1.5 knots. So these are about 1.5. When it goes into the blue, it's 2. As soon as you get into the white, it's up to 3.5. So these areas in here and up here that they just went through are up to 3.5 knots. So you can really get a big kick when that's happening. So all of this stuff is only, then you've got waves. Okay, so there's color gradients on the waves. There it comes. So that's all less than 2 meters. Down here, that's sort of in about there somewhere, 1.5 meters. There's nothing. So that's how that happens. This will be boring to people. They'll be hanging up on me. And then you've got rain. Here goes the rain scale. So there's a bit of rain up there. You come down here and you can see this is in millimeters now. So that's 10 millimeters. So this one here is about 15 millimeters of rain right on that spot there. But they've got a clear area. Blue, there's no rain at all anywhere around here. So that was a quick answer to all of that lot. It wasn't really a tutorial. Oh, still there. Yep. So I'm going to go back here and finish off the questions, and you can all go and enjoy the rest of Friday. Hi from Panama too. How are you able to overlay the race stuff? That's what we just did. Brenda, where is Popeye? Still on his boat, still in Playita Marina with John. They didn't leave today. It's Friday. Maybe they're superstitious as well. I would never leave on a Friday. I would now think they should be ready to go. So I would think they'll probably just leave tomorrow, but I may be wrong. I have no idea. We haven't spoken to them. Their manager is meant to send us a sheet just before they go to say they're all squared away. So Warren is on YouTube, so it is there somewhere. So that's good. When you were trying to show the YouTube site, it wasn't shown. Oh, gotcha. Okay, I understand that now because I left okay. Yeah, sorry, you didn't get to see it. So when I left the website page and I went to the YouTube, I'm only getting the website page. So yeah, when I was talking about the YouTube channel, you would have been getting a blank screen or nothing, or just watching me talk or something. So sorry about that. Anyway, next time I can share the YouTube screen as well, and you'll see what happens. Free-facing ads are popping up in your YouTube live. That's interesting. Hopefully not while I'm live. It should be up after. If you can, if not, can you turn it off? Okay, so if you're for ads are popping up on your YouTube live. If you are monetizing, that's fine. If not, can you turn it off? Didn't use the DK that's here. Okay, so yes, we are monetizing it. We have always been monetizing it. There's different levels. I think Jane's the expert on this. We have the absolute minimum. You can hit buttons and increase your amount of advertising revenue by allowing more ads. We have the number one, the lowest to monetize. And to give you an idea, we on these ones here, I think we make about $4, €4 or something on a tracker update because we don't have much. But in the GGR, for instance, when we're doing the GGR, we have again the lowest level of advertising on that. But we have like 3,500, 4,000, maybe 4,000 people on average on every one of the daily updates. And when they're watching that, it goes through, and we do all our other posts with YouTube and all that sort of stuff. We sometimes make as much as three grand a month. And so that helps us as well. So yes, they are monetized, but we haven't gone to the extreme end. Okay. So, and you should only see that on the replays. So we're part of the process, but it's not extreme, and we don't think it's too obtrusive. So hopefully you can bear with us. I think you can get a program that lets you chop the ads out as well if you don't want the ads. But on Facebook, they are monetizing stuff, and we get no, they're not monetizing. We don't get paid for any of the ads you see on Facebook, YouTube's, and there's more and more of that. I'm seeing, Adam puts up a Facebook video on Facebook, and Facebook now popping ads up in it all over the place. So all of the Facebook ads, no one gets paid for that. Facebook just do it themselves, so we don't get any money for that. No one does, and you'll see them on everyone. They just whack it in there, which is fine. They've got to run their business. So okay, yes, while live, yeah. Okay, so there's ads while it's live. That's interesting. Okay, well, we haven't changed anything. It's still the same. We do what we do, so sorry about that. But it does help us slowly but surely. Okay, we're done. Thank you very much, everybody. God, 40 minutes again. Nearly a weekend one. So I'll press this button and I'll see you. Should be tomorrow. There's stuff happening and I'll be around. So we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, I can't get to turn that on there. Here we go. I've got to get to there. There we go. See you later.
Witness history in the making at the McIntyre Mini Globe Race 2025. Small boat, huge adventure.